Great. It is 12:01. I am gaveling in the meeting. Today's gavel is a hairbrush. This is Town of Southborough, Massachusetts, virtual meeting of the Personnel Board via Zoom, Wednesday, May 20, 2020, 12 p.m. Welcome, everyone. Please forgive me, I have to read this statement. I'm told I have to read this statement into the record at every meeting. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, chapter 38, section 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Personnel Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at http://www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at https://www.southboroughtown.com remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technical means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive recording of proceedings as soon as it is possible after the meeting. All right, we are called to order at 12:01. Welcome, everybody. All meetings, all votes will be by roll call. Vanessa, did I miss anything?
Nope, you've covered it. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see you. We called this meeting because this is the week before town meeting was scheduled. So just in case something needed to be updated. So the first order of business is on the agenda is number 2 is administrative business. The board had in its packets minutes from our last meeting of May 20th. Those are pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 in your packet. Sorry. Any comments, questions, concerns, changes to the minutes? All right, the minutes having been circulated to the board in the packet prior to the meeting, reading of the minutes is waived and the chair hereby approves the minutes. Thank you all. All right, the next item on our agenda is section 3, COVID-related business. 3A, town meeting update, status, and the personnel handouts. So I've received emails. I don't know if anybody saw on my Southborough, we are confirmed for Saturday, June 13th, 1 p.m. And the meeting, the spring town meeting, annual town meeting is going to be held outside in a tent at Trottier. And Ms. Hale, if you want to fill in anything, if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, there will be, just a minute about logistics. There will be some smaller tents, but it's not under one big tent, just so. So there is a rain date of Sunday if the weather is not good on Saturday, but that's certainly what we're hoping for. Again, you know, it's a very different town meeting. There will be no presentations on a screen. That would be really difficult to you know, pull off in the daylight, etc. So everything is really being done by handouts. And it's going to be, you know, a challenge. Mark, I see Mark is also here. I don't know. We spent quite a bit of time last night at the selectmen's meeting talking to the town moderator about this. Mark, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I think interesting is definitely the way it's going to be. I know that Jim Hegarty's done an awful lot of work in making the logistics work for this to make sure that people who, you know, someone doesn't sneak in, who doesn't register at the table, you know, to vote. I'm not sure about the tent part, Vanessa. I think that it's pretty much going to be more open air than tented. I keep looking for that 10-day forecast so we can see how the weather's going to be. Hopefully it's more towards a day like yesterday than a day like, you know, the 85-degree day that we had a little while ago. There's the selectmen last night reaffirmed their commitment to try to defer the articles that have been deemed as non-critical. And again, the SAP article is critical. I think that it's a little bit disingenuous, in my opinion, to tell people, you know, at the end of April, that your articles are not going to be considered critical for this meeting, and we're going to defer those to the next town meeting, and we'll put all of those articles that aren't considered on that warrant as of right. But then to tell them, okay, you've got 9 days, get your stuff together. I know you haven't touched this in 2 months, but put it all together and make sure everybody understands it so you can vote on it. I think that's just setting up those articles for failure. So I think that, you know, it could be a little bit clunky trying to find our way through those articles. But again, it will be historic. I'm sure of that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hale, Mr. Purple. From my perspective as chairman of the Personnel Board, I just wanted to make sure that I got you all an update. And I can actually forward you the email I received. Ms. Hale forwarded it to me, thank you, from the moderator, kind of setting out a little bit of the detail. So after the meeting, I can forward it to the board. Relevant to the Personnel Board, as Mr. Purple has said, our warrant article, which comes at the top of the town meeting, usually around Article 5 or 6, is considered critical. So it will be on the agenda next Saturday. Also, the moderator's email spoke to a consent agenda that he will try to move through. I confirmed with him our warrant article, the personnel bylaw, is not considered consent agenda. So someone from this board will need to stand up and move the article. And I assume that will be me. And I don't think I need any, is it the sense of the board that I should present the article? You can just shake your head. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think we've officially ever voted on that. And I don't think I've done a this will be my 3rd year, I think. I didn't do a presentation last year. I think I did a presentation just the first year to introduce myself to the voters. So is it the sense of the board, especially, it's my sense under these circumstances, to forego any sort of presentation? I don't think I need to speak about the SAP unless someone has a question about the SAP, but I'll open that up to the members if you think there's something I ought to say this year.
No?
All right, sense of the board, no that's what I told Mr. Semino in email communication. And lastly, we have a couple of handouts. They're in your packet. The first one is at page 6 to 9. And you saw this document at your March 11th meeting. And all I did was write at the bottom that it was approved on March 11th. And this is just the detailed document. We've done this the last few years. A snapshot of the changes. It seems to be popular. And Mr. Hegarty has confirmed that he will have this as a handout this year. The second handout is at pages 10 to 27 of your packet. And that will be the full tracked changes version of the bylaw. As you may recall, we decided we don't put this into the packet. What folks will see in the town meeting warrant is the SAP with the changes this board recommended as if they were approved. Just hit see all changes, and that's what went into the warrant. We thought that made it easier for folks to see what they were voting on. But for those of you, for those in the audience in town who might want to see exactly what came in and what came out, the full track changes version is now a.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, I'm hearing another meeting or something.
Yeah, I am too.
I am too.
I thought on the recording last week that was my husband's meeting, but he's not having a meeting, so.
I got a question on this though.
Yes,
On page 10, under section 1 definitions, the 3rd paragraph down says anniversary date.
yep.
I thought we were getting rid of the 90-day probationary period as far as everything else and making their anniversary date just the day that they started. Making their anniversary date 90 days after they start.
Hang on 1 second. Let me see what we did with that.
Because technically they're starting on, let's say, June 1st. They're not starting on August 1st, even though that's their probationary period. If their probationary period goes well and they keep their employment, why wouldn't their start date be 3 months early? That's their
My
actual start date.
recollection was that there were other references to anniversary date in the SAP, and we would have had to change other portions of the SAP. But I can look into that. I don't have that answer. Vanessa, do you recall off the top of your head?
No, no, I mean, the premise would be that we still would use the term, anniversary date, for things like when you're eligible for your raise, et cetera, which
Yeah,
it wouldn't
but
be on the 6-month calendar anymore. It would be on the 12-month calendar.
Right, but that becomes a problem too, right? Because if you're gonna say you get your annual review on your anniversary date, now they're gonna be waiting 15 months, not at 12 months from when they actually started.
well, if we want to change something, it's printed in the warrant, and I will need to amend it on town meeting floor.
Because we were gonna try to get everybody back on that schedule to do that, I thought a while ago.
So I'm sorry, Jay, what section were you looking at?
Page
Definitions,
10,
Vanessa.
Section 1, third paragraph.
Oh, okay.
To tell you the truth, it's been a while since I
I know.
looked back at
I know.
our discussion, and I would need to access, some documents on my computer,
Yep.
which I apologize. I do not have perfect recall.
Hmm.
I do know that if we want to change something, would need to change it on town meeting floor because it's in the warrant already.
Yeah, we
Mark,
could do an amendment if needed.
Yeah.
Mark, do you remember any of that?
I'd need a refresher on that, Jay.
Okay,
I think what happened was we wanted to mess with some of these, we wanted to improve the SAP. And we looked through it, and I remember doing a search to see where certain terms were.
Yeah.
And the term anniversary date came up in a few places. So we were talking with Ms. Hale and Mr. Ballantyne about where we could affect it and where we couldn't. And I think the decision was made that we couldn't change it because of its applicability to other. Does that ring a bell for anybody?
Yeah, I mean, that's my recollection as well. It's not, I don't have clear recollection, but that sounds right to me. That we definitely had a discussion about this and
Yep.
looked to change it for the reason that Jay brings up, and decided either it would cause a lot of other issues if we did change it.
And I can confirm that I have a really old computer. I was in the process of trying to get changed over to a new one when this happened with the pandemic, and I haven't been able to complete that exercise yet. So if I try to go on now and look at a bunch of documents, I'll either lose my Zoom meeting or my mind. So and my computer will crash. But I can look that up, Jay, and I can
No, that's
certainly
fine.
get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember doing a search of the SAP for different terms and where they intersected with other provisions.
Yep.
So believe me, as I go back and look at this, there's a lot, I hear you, there's a lot of
Yep.
things I'm not happy with. So we can start work for fall town meeting if you like.
Yep.
Why don't I put that on the agenda? I'm a little wary, I don't know how you guys feel about trying to change anything under a tent outside. I always think it's dicey in the best of circumstances to try to amend something on town meeting floor. I feel like you start to lose people. If it's a word or a typo, that's one thing, but to try to change a concept, I don't know if anybody else has that feeling from town meeting.
I think it's going to be very difficult to try to keep people's focus, in this environment. So unless it's something that, you absolutely feel you need to do, I wouldn't do it. I mean, there's going to be enough problems with the budget because 90% of that is going to have to change. And if someone doesn't agree, there's going to be amendments on top of amendments. And so I think if you can live with what you've got, and again, there's going to be there'll be a special happening probably in another couple of months. So if it's really something you can't wait for until the next annual, you could always put something on to change it in 3 months.
I'm fine talking about it later. We don't have
All
to
right.
wait now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
good. Yeah, I would just add that.
Mr. Dietz, you
know-
can't see me. I have a pad. This is the item for the next agenda. As usual, Jay, you brought up something that's cogent and to the point, and I appreciate it. And I will put you on the agenda for our next meeting. And
Okay.
I intend to present this, and I think, Vanessa, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong. At town meeting, I probably need to move to amend on the cover page where it says revised at March 28th town meeting. Do I have to
Correct.
move to amend that to June 13th, or does that happen by operation of the clerk's office? Just
I
the
mean,
cover.
it'll be reflected in the clerk's official town meeting minutes.
Okay.
So, I think you could, skip over that. And just to comment on amendments in general for any article, like Mark said, we would prefer not to do them this year, in that format of town meeting, because in the past, I've been doing them live on the screen at the floor of town meeting, so people can see exactly what's being changed, edited, or deleted. And we simply don't have that ability in this outside environment. We're going to have to go back to doing them, on paper.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dietz, and thanks to our administrators for their input. Very much appreciated, and it will be on our agenda for our next meeting, which we will schedule soon. All right. And as I said, these two handouts, the clerk's office will take care of them, and my understanding is there will be physical handouts at town meeting.
Yes.
Whether or not people actually want to pick them up or there's gloves next to them, I don't know. That's for Mr. Hegarty. All right, we're on 3B, synchronizing employee performance evaluation dates with an update from Mr. Ballantyne. And this is page 28 in your packet. You have a one-page memo from Mr. Ballantyne. You may recall, we had voted last year to synchronize not anniversary dates, but what we called performance evaluation date or
Yep.
performance appraisal date to July 1st. And
Right.
Vanessa alerted me that with everything that's going on, this may be problematic for our town officials this year. So you have a memo in your file from Mr. Ballantyne. And I don't know, Vanessa, is he available?
Brian is joining us. He's
Okay.
now able to speak.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, great. How are you all? I hope well.
We can hear you. We can't see you. I assume that's intentional on your part, but it's nice to hear you, Brian. You have the floor.
So yeah, this is a pretty straightforward, just little update that, as you know, we're trying to coordinate to have July 1st anniversary dates, which is going to be easier, much easier in the long run for all of us. So we're excited about it actually, but it is June 3rd today, and we haven't done a lot to communicate with the department heads and to get the reviews up and running to get this done for July 1st, which is, 3 weeks away, 3.5 weeks away or whatever. So, we just wanted to make sure the board is aware that it's going to be a little bit delayed, where it doesn't mean people won't get their raises, doesn't mean we can't do this, just means that through July and maybe probably even lingering into August, the board will probably be seeing reviews come to them for July 1st. And we'll be doing a lot of retros, in other words, which is fine again, but I want to make the board aware of that. We want to communicate to the employees what's going on and for them to start thinking about the reviews and they're, reminding them that this is based on now a merit. If I'm still correct, we're still moving ahead with the merit system that Jay and the town administrator put together, I think, with the reviews. So we basically want to communicate with them, but I didn't want to suggest to Vanessa and Mark that we do it on our own. I kind of didn't know if the board wanted to communicate anything or they just want to delegate it to myself and Vanessa or Mark, which is fine. I don't mind doing it, but I didn't want to send something out and have the board find out that, we're telling employees all this stuff and you didn't know about it. So I just wanted to, get a hold of the entire SAP and say, we haven't forgotten about this issue. Here's what, reminder, here's what we're doing. And please, as time allows during this difficult time, try to get your reviews together, pass them on. Questions I can answer, Vanessa can answer, et cetera. Just a little bit of an update to all the employees. I think it's important because they haven't heard about this in a while. So I think many of them may have forgot about it, or I'm sure some aren't even aware it's happening. So that's kind of my comment. I just again wanted the board to see if you're okay with me sending something out, or town hall sending something out to address this this issue.
And the only thing I would also add to Brian's comments are the fact that we certainly hope and pray that the SAP, passes just fine at town meeting, but this
Yeah.
change doesn't go into place unless the SAP passes, because that's, one of the amendments for FY21. So we need to get through town meeting first.
I'm counting
All
on, hopefully.
I'd like to step back before we get to people's comments, because I'm a little confused and just want to frame the issue because we haven't done this for a while. We voted to make employee evaluations all on a set date, okay?
Right.
It's dependent on the SAP being passed at town meeting because that's what the salary rates are, the ranges. However, the up to 3% is not subject to town meeting review. That's something that this board does that's independent of it's in the SAP, more or less. We won't get into that whole argument, but it's something we do every year that is not a number that is part of the personnel bylaw. So my understanding would be if this had been a normal year, and correct me if I'm wrong, we would have gone to town meeting in March. We'd have an SAP. We would know the ranges. My recording has stopped.
Hang on. Okay,
Thank you, Vanessa. So
sorry.
we would have gone to town meeting and then we would proceed. And I'm not sure we decided to call it a merit, but we wanted reviewers to take account of merit. It's not a full merit system, but it's a performance evaluation raise that takes into account merit, and it's a scale. So what was I going to say? Then starting, I'm not sure how were we intending to, I did not understand, I should say, that we were going to give the FY21 raises on July 1st, 2020. I thought we were going to synchronize and all the raises would be the following year. How are we reviewing people's performance for FY21 if the fiscal year starts on July 1st? Was that the understanding of the board that the FY21 reviews were going to be this July 1st or next July 1st? I remember Brian had a rollout. How is everybody going to give a review on the first day of FY21 for the entire year? I thought the FY21 reviews would be July 1st, 2021.
My understanding, unless I misunderstood this, was that the new review date would be 7/1/20, because if it weren't until 7/1/21, that's technically the first day of the following fiscal year, and those funds wouldn't be available anymore.
Okay.
So
what was
Mark, Mark can certainly speak for himself, but I thought that, he would be working on all the reviews that he does. He would have been working in a normal year, of course, would have been working on those reviews, May, June, to get them to the personnel board, for an early July meeting. But I'd like him to weigh in. I see he unmuted.
I guess I'm confused how you but I know there was a phase-in plan that this board approved. And Jay gave input on that. What was the phase-in? What did we say how we were going to make this happen?
I don't remember what we were going to do is, but let's just say it was July.
Yeah.
Everybody would get a prorated version up until that day. And then this way, everybody would be able to start clean on the same day.
Right. It was the money part that there was a phase in, or like you said, Jay, apportioning it for the year. The actual reviews, I remember it was going to be the messy part, because some people got their reviews in March and they're going to get another review in June. It was a little weird the first year, because I remember talking about that. So it's like on year one, it's a little odd, but after year one, it's fine.
Right. So that person who started in March, they'll just get 2/12 of their annual raise, and then they'll start clean on July 1 with everybody else. And this way, it's when it comes back to you guys, you won't have to do it monthly going forward. You'll just have to do it once a year for everybody. It just makes it so much easier.
Right. And like Kristen and I use Kristen and Dave in my office. They both just had reviews. You probably may have remembered seeing them. So that's one of the weird ones. They're going to, technically, I need to give them another review in June, well, this month. So
Right.
it's a little odd, but it's once it's done, it's just a one-time thing. Once it's done.
Exactly. It's one time for everybody.
Right, right.
I'm still confused. So every year we're going to review people on the first day of the fiscal year. How do we know how they're going to perform for the whole year on the first day of the fiscal year?
Right?
Again, I think it's only a problem the first year, as Brian is saying. After that,
Right.
everyone will have gone a year. But then
Everyone will have, exactly.
whether you do it this year or next year, you're always going to have that problem. So it's just something we have to live with that first year to make the transition, I think.
And now, Brian, are you saying it's problematic this year because of the pandemic? Because we haven't had town meeting? I just want to understand before the board votes, whatever, why it's not being done in the way that we talked about.
Yeah, I think it's the mostly the pandemic, right, where we had shut down for a few months, and it's caused a lot of disruption, unfortunately. It's just delayed us a little bit, but like I said, we'll get back on track. It's just a little bump that we need to be aware of.
Does the board want to vote to replace the July 1st date with a different date? I don't know, November 1st?
If we do November 1st, then we're gonna have to do prorating twice.
Yeah,
Right.
I think we should leave it.
Leave
Okay.
July 1st and miss the date,
Yeah.
just not do it?
Leave
Yeah.
July 1st.
Retro.
and do
Yep.
the raises retroactively to July 1st.
Okay. Is that anybody else have a comment, question?
No.
All right, so we've already voted July 1st, so we don't have to take a vote. We just
Right.
thank Brian for coming forward and do the best you can, and it'll be retro, right?
Yeah, my expectation would be we get through town meeting, Mark and Brian and I, and, certainly Jay, who's helped us with this process all along, and figure out, okay, this is going to be our cycle for physically getting these reviews done and getting them to the personnel board. And then when the board does vote them, whatever the range or the raise might be, it would be retroactive to July 1, 2020 for
Right.
all of those employees.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hill. Brian, you have something else?
Oh, no, I just said thank you. Makes sense. I'm good.
Okay, anybody else have a comment?
No, and then we can do this very easily. Instead of having a whole sheet for the reviews, since they're prorated, we could literally just build it. And Mark, I can do this with you if you want, and Brian. We can just put it onto an Excel spreadsheet and just say, here's the person's name, next cell over, this is what they're at now, here's what their prorated is going to be, and we can just have a list of everybody going down.
Yep.
Because we're not going to need reviews for people that got one 2 months ago. All we really need to do is know the prorating amounts.
Yeah, Jay, you do a nice job automating, so I'm happy for the help.
I'll swing over, Mark, and we can do it in the table.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dietz, thank you, Mr. Valentine, thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Purple, thank Ms. Hale. Anything else on this before we move on?
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The third thing I had on the agenda is just a follow-up. 3C, that was the Board of Selectmen's draft policy on working and returning to work with COVID. I put it in the packet, page 30 to 44. This is just a summary. I cut it.
29 to 40.
29, right?
Oh, sorry. I had actually printed it out, not from the board packet, so thank you. I had a different number. Thank you, Dave. Okay, so this is just, I had told the board I would do a table and cut and paste. So this is the text of the draft policy from the Board of Selectmen with the comments turned off, or I tried to turn them off. And then just summarizing the personnel board comments. They're not, it's about 97% my comments and about 3% of Barry's comments. But we discussed these at our meeting, and I put this document together as I said I would, and it was forwarded on to Mr. Purple and Mr. Stivers. I don't know if Mr. Stivers is present with us.
He is. Let me just move him up.
And just to be clear, there's really not anything else for the board, for this board to discuss. This policy was referred to us, and we did our review and did our job and our due diligence and got it back. So it's back with the Board of Selectmen now. And unless they ask us to do something further. So I just wanted to put it on the agenda so we could put the document in the packet.
Okay.
and Mr. Stivers is here.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Does he
Can you hear-
wish to, so I don't know if this was discussed at your meeting last night, Sam. I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to watch the meeting.
Was
Board-
not. Was not.
Okay,
But again, I very much appreciate the input. I'm in the process of working through the comments and trying to integrate them with the draft that we had previously. There's a fair amount of stuff to move around there, but I'm working through it, and I will forward it to Mr. Purple, Ms. Hale, as soon as I get that finished, which hopefully will be the next couple of days here. So very helpful input, important to reconcile with SAP as well as some of the federal requirements that you'd raised.
does anybody have any questions for Mr. Stivers? Thank you, Sam, for your input and for your efforts to keep this rolling. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. It's very helpful. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any other business under 4? Moving on. All right, we are on board calendar. I promised you short and sweet.
Yep.
Anybody have anything else for the board that came up in the interim since the agenda was posted? Okay, we'll
No.
move on to board calendar. Is there a sense of the board to meet in July? I would like to meet in July after town meeting, and if everybody's around.
Just one question for you.
Yes,
Madam Chair, we are in the final stage, hopefully today or tomorrow, making an offer for a town accountant. Both of the finalists are currently employed in municipalities in Massachusetts, so I will be sending you a request to approve a 3-week vacation based on their existing employment in the public sector.
and does it comport with the policy? How many years' experience?
It does, both have several.
All right, let's just take a little glance at the SAP. So to come in at 3 weeks vacation, remind me, Vanessa, how much?
I think
They
it's
need-
5 years.
I think it's 6 to 10.
Sorry, I don't have that right in front of me. Here's the SAP. So both have at least that. So that's why I would expect to have a request pending for the board.
And when would you expect that you would need us to approve that request?
It doesn't have to be done before the Board of Selectmen make their appointment. It can be handled separately. So it could wait until your July meeting. I just wanted to find out when you would be meeting again.
Okay, if there's any sense of urgency, we probably don't want to meet the first week in July. I don't know. Well, nobody's going anywhere are you going anywhere for the 4th of July?
Disney's opening July 11th.
All right, Dorian, we'll keep that in mind.
I'm not going. I'm
All
not
right.
going.
Maybe it's easier. We could meet July 1st. That way we'll get the packet and the meeting out of the way. We'll get Vanessa a review of the vacation, and then everybody can take the weekend off. If we do the meeting on July 8th, which is the second Wednesday, then we have the packet on the 2nd and the 3rd. And even though people might not be traveling, they might want to be staycationing in their backyard. So how do people feel about having the meeting on July 1st?
Fine for
Fine
me.
by me.
Works for me.
It's all right.
Does that work? Okay.
Yep.
We get it
That's
all out.
helpful because if we went to the following week, the town hall will be closed for business on July 3rd because of the holiday. So I think the 1st would be excellent.
Okay, yeah, I think delaying it makes it a little more problematic. And this way we can address your vacation request for the new town accountant. All
Thank
right,
you.
the board will
Same-
meet. the
Same
board-
time?
We could just do it
Vanessa?
now too, right? I mean, we know we're gonna give it to him.
What?
We know if he has the years of experience, we're gonna give him the 3 weeks. Why don't we just do it right now?
Well, it was
not
not
on
on
the
the agenda,
agenda.
Jay.
Okay,
Jay, you're such a
Sorry.
man of action. It's not, it's not on the agenda, and
That's
B, we
fine.
do have to review. Vanessa will give us a 1 paragraph telling us how many years of experience, and we'll check the box off against the SAP. So,
Good try, Jay.
I know.
There's one, I just wanted to note, there's one male candidate and one female candidate, so it's not automatically a he.
they-
What time on Wednesday?
Vanessa, is this slot working for you?
It is, yes.
No, it's not a popular time in the Zoom room?
No.
All right, does noon work for the rest of the board?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. So we will have our next meeting on Wednesday, July 1st at 12. I look forward to it. Have I missed anything? Anybody else have anything they want to add before?
Nope, just one final question. We're all set with our handouts. I assume the board did not see any reason to post a meeting the day of town meeting.
Oh,
Well,
do we need to discuss anything? I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
we've never done that before. I think advisory and board of selectmen typically do if they're have
Correct.
requests
I just
pending.
wanted to clarify that you saw no need for that.
No, we just shut
Yeah.
down Jay on changing it today, so I don't think we're gonna change it. But again, I'm gonna get Jay as soon as we hang up. I'm gonna do some of the things I do after this meeting and finish up the minutes and get them posted with the clerk's office. And then I'm gonna go back into my file and look at anniversary dates, so.
Mm.
Thank
Right,
you for that.
All right, and Mark and Brian, if you guys want to get together and do that Excel spreadsheet, we can do it either over this or whatever's easier for you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. I think the tough part for me is the next 6 or 7 days, just trying to, first of all, getting advisory and selectmen on the same page for a budget, and then trying to get whatever handouts we need to get for town meeting in the 2 or 3 days after that. So
Yep.
once we get past that, I think we can try and get some time.
Whatever works for you.
Great. Thank you, Jay.
Good
I
luck
can-
with that, Mark.
And I can proactively start it all too, Mark, if you wanted me to get it so that when we actually meet, I can have most of it done.
I think that worked well last time to put a template together and then we can just tweak it.
Okay,
I think I just had a thought as I was looking at the SAP and we had a discussion with town council. We wanted to visit this is on the subject of probation and anniversary date. We wanted to visit the concept of probationary employees and we did it in 2 senses. One was having a 6-month salary review and one was getting rid of probationary status altogether. And we decided to recommend to town meeting to get rid of the probationary status, but not to probationary salary review, but
Great,
not to
yeah.
get rid of probationary status. So I think anniversary date got caught up in that and perhaps wasn't amended in the way that it should be, so we can visit it. But because I'm looking, we kept in probationary employee. Remember that
We-
discussion with town council?
we
Yes.
keep it in, we keep in probationary, but their salary starts as it should on day 1. They don't get that increase after.
6-month bump.
Yeah, so
They're
perhaps
doing it
Right.
right.
as Jay suggested, we need to look at the definition of anniversary date, even though we looked at probationary and left it in. So just I had that flash of what happened and we met with Tim Norris and we left probationary in. Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
All right, if not, we are adjourned at 12:39. Be safe. Lovely to see you all and we'll see you back here on the 1st.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good
Stay
night.
well, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Gavel. Thanks.
Hang on one second. Okay, I didn't want to remove Dave Nixon, and just have him get this big flag off his screen. So that's probably their shortest meeting on record.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Yeah. So at the bottom, what do you see at the bottom of your screen?
So I see participants, chat, share screen, and record.
Okay, great. Do you see something that says more next to record?
No.
Hang on. I just want to tell Tom that we're doing a little. Hey, Tom, can you hear me? Maybe he just left his screen up. I just wanted to let him know why we were still in here. and why I haven't ended the meeting.
Is it still recording on YouTube? I see that in the top left. It
Oh,
says
hang on.
Live on
maybe.
YouTube.